All right, good morning, everybody, and thank you for joining us for the CA Endevor Community Webcast for September 2014. Unfortunately, Stuart Ashby, who most of you know is the Community Board's president, isn't able to join us today, so I'm going to kick things off. My name is Len Thompson, and I'm the lead community manager for this community, so if you ever have any questions or needs, just let me know. I'm pretty easy to find. And with that, let's get started. I'm going to hand things over to Pete McCullough from CA Technologies. And Pete, you are going to be the presenter in 2 seconds. All right.
Okay.
There you go, Pete.
Hey, thank you, Len. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Today we have a special guest, Joe Gorell, who is going to be speaking about an implementation that he has been working on that to support Java using native Endevor capabilities. And I have seen this presentation or earlier version of it, and I highly recommend it. Before we get started with Joe, I would like to mention something for Rose Sekach, who is also out of the office today. But she had asked me to be sure to encourage all of you to take an opportunity at the community, the Endevor community page, to click on that link that you see here. Let your voice be heard. Take the CA Endevor Software Change Manager Product Survey. This is a new survey that will help us to understand better how people are perceiving the product, where it's strong, where it's weak, opportunities that we can continually improve what we're providing to everyone. So please take a moment to complete that survey, and we can go forward. Does anybody have any questions before I turn it over to Joe? Hey, Len, is everybody on mute by chance?
Yeah, everybody should be on mute, and if they have any questions, they should either use the QA function in WebEx or the chat function.
Okay. Okay, well, you heard it from Joe or from Len. Please go ahead and enter any questions that you may have through the WebEx facilities. And I'll turn it over to Joe Gorell. Joe, I'm going to make you the presenter now. I think. Actually, I can't. Len, I guess you're going to have to do that.
Yeah, I went ahead and did it already.
Okay. So, Joe, take it away.
Okay. My name is Joe Gorell. I work for OPTUM Technologies, which is a United Healthcare company. This is a request that was given to us to provide Java code up on a mainframe through Endevor. We have this facility now that we want to run Java code underneath CICS for applications. So with that said, let me see, how do I get this in? How do I go next screen? No, that's not next screen. It's not what I want. Okay. How do I get to the screens?
Joe, up at the very top, just under the tab, you should see left and right arrows. Right next to where it says 01:Java code.
01:Java code. Okay. Like that?
Yep.
Okay,
yep,
cool.
There you go.
Okay, got it. Great, thanks. Okay. So basically, this is our structure, our Endevor lifecycle. As an entry stage, we have 6 different paths that we can take. We also have an emergency path, and there is an extra one on there which I have not provided, which is we call a quick path that basically bypasses the lengthy normal life cycle and allows us to bypass the release stage. We are providing Java through every path so that each path will be assigned or associated with a specific CICS region. Few things I'd like to talk about is basically the need for knowledge on Unix. It was interesting to try to figure out how to run stuff in a Unix world from Rex in a TSL world, which was never done before. We use IBM shell commands to get information out of the Rex. We look at the std error and std out to determine error messages, to determine the output, to basically display information and so forth. Processors needed to process things using the long element name, which they're going up to about 160 characters, I believe, is a Windows limit. So what happening was we had to do specific gets of the element name to be able to process it, because you can't process an element name which is bracketed and encrypted inside of Endevor. Let's see, third-party software, we needed to run pk unzip. The files that are coming from the PC are jar files, or basically packed ASCII code. We had to unzip it. There were pitfalls with that, where it can only unzip a single file up into the mainframe at a time. Say we're processing a few hundred at one time. That means I would need a few hundred steps. Well, got around that using Rex and putting things inside a loop, so we were able to handle that. Shipping, we had to do is set up different ship processes for an online compared to batch, which I'll go into also. So we're running both batch and online. How we had to figure out how do we ship Java elements, footprints, backout elements, how to process the Java files that are put onto the production LPAR, because we have the development and we have the production, which are separated. So we don't have them on the same machine. Stop me if anybody has any questions, by the way. Initial add, select the path, specify a processor group, all this stuff. We're running right now CMEW, Change Manager Enterprise Workbench, until the Eclipse CA plugin is available, so that we can add right from the HFS directory. This way it adds right into Endevor. It's basically seamless. There are no copying of files from the PC world to your desktop. It is not allowed. You have to go right from the development, we call that deployment tool, right to the HFS file on the mainframe, right into Endevor. So the only way you can do that right now is through CMEW. Move, we use packages are required. Again, certainly, currently CMEW is the only thing that allows us to go from stage 1 up to our production environment. Or we want to manually create the SCL to do the performs inside Endevor, which means you need to know the exact 160 character length element name, or up to that point. Sign off, we have sign offs every stage through our life cycle. This way validation of moves are performed. Again, as mentioned before, ship to prod is a different part of different LPAR. We have to do validating of packages for shipping. And a future use hopefully will be Eclipse. Let's see. Okay, right now I want to talk about is the online processing. Excuse me. Very busy screens I'll be showing you. I'm very much into into Visio and designing things this way I understand it, so that I can explain it to people. This side of the world here is the PC development. They use these tools. This one's called Artifactory. They use Maven, SDK. Subversion is their version control system for the PC. The CA Eclipse plugin. Basically, we're using CMEW right now, as I mentioned, and then this thing called Antil Pro, which is a published utility, which actually takes the file and puts it to a ZFS folder out on a mainframe. From there, we use CMEW to do the add into Endevor. We use exit 4 to ensure that the Java code is coming from the we call landing zone, or the ZFS file from Antil Pro. This way, there's no way of getting this add from anywhere else. It is a totally closed loop. The generate actually does is takes the file, adds it to a base library. From that base library, we provide a process which then basically publishes or extracts the specific files for running on a CICS environment. We have the stages 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to 6. On stage 6, we do the ship over to the production environment, which then executes on our production machine. So this is an overview of what goes on and how things run in this Java environment. This is just a broken down environment where it shows that we have the specific stages go to specific base files. Then when we publish or process it, it goes over to a specified region. Each stage has its own regions, and you'll see that there's a B, C, D, E, and F. Well, those are the different paths of our life cycle. They also have their own specific region set up for it. So there's a lot of regions. We do not work on what they call the stage 2. If you look at our life cycle again, if I go back, but the stage 1, we're only using one entry. Normally, it's a 2-entry stage. So we're not actually using that. What we're just going to do is backfill into it just to satisfy Endevor and control. So when adding into stage 1, we do stage 2 and 3 are basically tied, the normal map of 2 stages. Stage 4 is a single stage environment. Stage 5 is a part of a 2-stage environment. So this is our development, which no processing gets done, no shipping, I should say, gets done to the production environment. It's all handled on our development machine. Now to go through a little bit of the process that takes place when you perform the add. You have your how do I get rid of that? We predefine inits. We do to get the long name. As I mentioned before, we have to get the long name to do the processing in the Unix world. Then we do a check of the access to make sure it's there. If it's there already, we delete it. We don't want to have copying over and not being processed properly, so we end up doing is wiping out if it's been there before. We do a directory check. In case it never was there, we actually define the stage that we want to put it into. We unzip the file, which goes over to what we call a JAR asterisk O, because there's going to be more. Right now it's just an S, which is for standard. There's going to be like 2 or 3 more different types. So we're planning on using the same structure for it. So the JARSO file is where the output of the zip file goes. The unzip file then is taken in and processed to the JARS CICS, which is attached to the CICS region. Then we just do a report to specify where all things are, date, timestamps, and so forth within the processor. And a move. Basically, it's the same thing. We move, we check the data set, we check the next stage. We will name, we basically create, remove, copy, extract, and reproduce report again. So we're moving files from JARSO there to JARSO here. The JARS CICS files are created fresh every time, going from T region to the S region, and so forth up the map. And this is just showing you the different, these are all the base files that are on Endevor, and they're all Unix folders. Now comes the promotion from our test dev environment over to the production LPAR. We have our own in-house developed and designed shipping process, which we submit as a P job, a T job, a pound sign or a number job, which then submits the U job over to production. The T job will actually create these subset of jobs and insert them into the U job for future submission depending on what's going on, what's being sent. We have a new J job for Java. We'll do is exactly what it did before in stage 1 when we added it. We'll do is unpack it to the O, extract the stuff we needed, put it into the CICS to attach to the production CICS region. And this basically tells us what the structure is for the production side of the machine. So just going through here now, we have one of the things we had to come up with is a way of, I guess, creating the backout record, because you can't just ship Java. You have to have a backout record right here. So in the move process for Java, we had to create the backout, use the utility util, what do I call it, USS, I think it's called. And we'll actually create the backout record so that we can actually ship using the destination files for Java. And then on the production side, again, this is the process of the J job to go and update the information. The key thing is to be able to create this backout record. If you didn't create the backout record, no matter what you ran here to move things, the process by which to do the ship would not work. Okay, that's it for online. Any questions? I believe, was it #6 to unmute?
I think it might be *6, Joe.
Or *6,
Pete.
Yeah.
I'm not positive. But also the chat's available, though I don't seem to be able to respond to chat questions. So I guess continue on until we get more. Somebody breaks through.
Okay. The second part of this process was to come up with a batch solution. Now, this batch solution is just that, is to be able to submit Java as a batch submission using just JCL and having a specific folder on the production LPAR to execute it. So it's very close, very similar to the online. But one good thing is there's no processors. All we're doing is using the base library to hold the files, the directories are all Unix. So when you perform the add, again, through the landing zone, through the exit 4, when we add, it adds it to the specific base library. And as you do moves, it just moves it from one to the next. The only move that's different is stage 6. As I mentioned before, we had to work with creating that footprint. If you didn't create the footprint, it wouldn't ship. Well, same thing here. So the only move processor that gets executed is in stage 6. Otherwise, it's just a strict move of your source code. Come on. Nope. Come on. Okay, just basically showing you again, which for batch, it's just base libraries. Stage 2 is not used at all, because normally there's a 2-stage entry. For stage 1, we're not using the A2 stages, which is normal for our facility. So then we come to stage 6. Once we created that backout record on a move, it ships a job. It pulls in a different skeleton. There's 2 different skeletons for this. The normal skeleton will execute 4 steps to actually pull apart the Java code because it's online and actually added to specific region directories and so forth. For batch, it's different. We don't have to open it up. All we need to do is copy it from the shipped location, transmit location through NDM over to a full-fledged prod.jarbat folder, so they execute right from this library itself. That's the only thing that takes place on this side of the house. So that's all it is. This is a one-step job. Again, just showing you needed to create the backout record, and the one step here says it copies the jar file. Eclipse, hopefully we'll be able to, from the landing zone. This has not been used yet. The landing zones are USS folders, HFS files, actually ZFS files. We have to be able to add directly from them. This is the goal for us, is to be able to add directly from the landing zone using Eclipse plugin, using the Tomcat. We do have currently right now 3 different Tomcats up and running for production, lab, and our sandbox. All accesses the proper version of Endevor through Eclipse. So now is that once we get this piece here working using HFS directories, which isn't part of Eclipse yet. But to do so, we do have CMEW. CMEW will add right from the Eclipse library directly over to the start task into Endevor. That adds directly with none of the problem. So far right now, install into lab. We have the lab environment up and running. We're completed with that. The Java batch design has been completed. We installed it into our prod environment to make sure that nothing broke along the way. We can still execute our normal stuff, and we can test it out by specific people and specific inventories only. The next thing is to modify your prod for developers trial that's going on right now. Once they get done with their testing and any modifications that needs to be done, which we have found a few, we need to do is retrofit that back into production, and then complete documentation for administrations and users. We review the proof of concept, making sure that everything is there as we required to do. And then, as I mentioned before, with a JAR asterisk, there is a JAR-A and a JAR-W which is a phase 2 and a phase 3 that's coming. We don't know when that's to start or how long that will take, but we're just making provisions for it. So I believe that is it. Any questions?
Hey, thank you, Joe. I'm going to jump in since I know I'm not muted. I do have a question. In terms of
Sure.
for the Endevor, it was a great presentation, by the way. In terms of the Endevor release that you use and functionality, what release did you use to implement this capability?
Okay, we needed release 16 because release 15, I think we're on 15, the Tomcat and the CA plugin did not work as required by us. When 16 came out, we worked heavily with CA to ensure that what we needed wasn't included in the base part of 16, and that everything was fine with Tomcat, with the adds of an element, being able to put in the processor group name, to select through drop downs and so forth. All that was within the 16 product. There are a few things that still need to be worked on yet, because we do package processing. That needs to be added yet. We just found out that we have to add from HFS or ZFS landing site directly. So I know that that's not in there. I have a request out there to add that to Eclipse. But all in all, version 16 was the one that we're able to do all this with.
Right. Okay.
Allowed us to go on.
I was going to say, Joe, I think I saw some V15.1 enhancements that you used for the Unix system services package ship in the ENN util capability to create backup records for long names as well.
Yeah, well, that was required to be able to ship
right
the EN util utility. We had to put in a processor to allow us to ship a Java file from our test environment to our production side of the house. Without that, we couldn't send the file, and that was in 16.
Thank you. Yeah, it was. It was actually, I think it was introduced with 15.1, and then it was rolled up into 16 as well.
It could have been because we were on 15. We didn't go to 15.1.
Yeah. Right. Okay. And did you make use of the post-ship script capability that was introduced with 16 with package ship as part of this?
No, we didn't. We just kept our own. What we have had for a long time is our own shipping process. We know how to modify it to get things to work. I don't know, maybe someday in the future, but right now it's a stands. We are just standing with what we have.
Okay, and will you be willing to share this presentation with others through the community bulletin board?
Pass it by my management, and I can let you know.
Okay, and Len, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Is there any way to unmute everybody? So
I'm not sure actually. Let me see. Yes.
That'd be great.
I just tried it, so I guess we'll see if it works.
Okay.
And
Morning, Pete.
And just so you guys are aware that there is a question in the chat, and it looks like that there are a couple in the Q&A as well.
Okay. I'm sort of new to this WebEx, so forgive me here. I see that there's questions about how to dial in. Now that everybody's unmuted, maybe we could just do the questions and Q&A verbally.
Sure. Hey, This is Rob Stringfellow.
Hi,
Joe,
Rob.
how long did all that work take for you to set up?
It too. This has been I'd say approximately a 1.5-year project.
Okay.
Starting with 15, finding out the pitfalls and issues that we couldn't do this, couldn't do that, and that we're working on it in the background, knowing that 16 was coming out, and working with CA through the beta program, being able to utilize that along with my development process together worked out great because we're able to move things along in our development. The major pitfalls were just trying to get everything coordinated. My learning of Unix commands and how to process things and how to get things done. And I think I saw one of the messages here is how do you handle long element names very carefully. It was a difficult thing because Endevor, as everybody knows, is just the 8-character element name. You can't address that. You have to address the &C1 element 255. And to do that, it was very cumbersome. But got there. It's, as I say, not pretty, but it works.
Just to let you guys know, as Joe indicates, this started as a proof of concept from another organization within our company. And so consequently, they were doing development of the standards, the way that they wanted it to function, the other tool interfaces that are, like Joe mentioned, Anthill Pro and Subversion, that are actually taking care of the Java development side. We're just doing the promotion on the mainframe of the executables. So there was a lot of give and take back and forth in terms of that proof of concept to get things to where everyone was comfortable that it was secure and that it would meet the developers' needs once we put it in place.
By the way, Pete?
Yes.
We can share this presentation.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Anything if anybody wants, you can give me a holler if you have questions. I'll be glad to answer them. Like I said, it's been an interesting time developing this. I'm sure there'll be people doing this in the future more often because what I've found out that converting COBOL to Java runs faster and cheaper on a mainframe. So this might be the wave of future. And by the way, what Steve said too was that Endevor is just a transport mechanism. We don't care about the versions and so forth because Anthill Pro and Subversion take care of all the versioning of Java on a PC server. So the mainframe is just a delivery tool, and that's it. So it's just sign-offs and make sure things move to where they're supposed to be through the life cycle. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Joe. I think it was very, very interesting and shows what can be done. And I know personally that you've been working very, very hard at getting this implemented and did spend a lot of time with the Endevor team addressing some specific issues related to Tomcat, and we got through those issues. So
yes,
I think you're a bleeding edge in this area, and perhaps a lot of people may benefit from your experience. So
I hope so.
I guess that will conclude that. I would just like to remind everybody on the call that in case they didn't know, that version 17 of Endevor is being delivered in a different way. It's being delivered incrementally, where features are being delivered as they are completed and are available in GA. There's a special agreement that you need to sign for the support agreement for incremental delivery that implies that or requires that you be aware that maintenance and new features that are distributed need to be applied if you're going to take on new fixes and things like that. So if you're interested in V17, it's published. There's 2 features available right now. That's the batch admin enhancement, which was the #1 DAR to allow wildcarded environments, and there's also a enhancement to allow exec failed to be used as a package filter for the selection list. And stay tuned, there's more on the way. So I think that concludes our call, Len, if you want to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think we're all set. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Thank you, Joe, for presenting. And we'll speak to you next time. And just so everyone knows, we should have the replay of this up in the community later today.
Great, thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.